So we're going to continue on, and we're going to talk about meiosis. So we talked about mitosis, and we understood mitosis is asexual. Now we're talking about meiosis. Now the question is, how did me get here? How did we get here? Obviously, we got here through sex. So today we're going to learn the difference between haploid and diploid. We're going to make sure we know meiosis compared to mitosis. We also have to identify the stages of meiosis. We have to understand the importance of the genes being on the separate chromosome as it relates to meiosis. And then we also will understand independent assortment because meiosis does have greater genetic diversity. So diploid versus haploid cells. All right, so one of the first things I want you to understand is di or diploid. So di means two. Hap is basically going to say half. It's going to be half. Okay. Chromosomes occurs in pairs. Key term has an S. So a one chromosome is an X, but chromosomes is in pairs. Got it? One comes from mom, the other comes from dad. A cell with two kinds of chromosomes is called diploid because di means two. Diploid cells are written as 2N. So if diploid is written as 2N and we have haploid, I'm going to allow you to understand what N is. Organisms also produce cells that contain one type of chromosome. Cells with one type of chromosome are known as haploid, and they are written as 1N. So what happens is 2N will equal the number of chromosomes, right? So N equals number of chromosomes. Okay, and that's per. As humans, we have 46 chromosomes. So this is going to be in each cell, okay? So the N is the number of chromosomes in each cell. We have 46. 46, how did we get a math equation to understand how many, what N is? Well, 46 divided by 2 is 23. That means every mom cell, every dad cell has 23. When 23 and 23 comes together, that's how it is. So each species has its own number of chromosomes. So again, humans, we have 46. So again, that's 2 times N. Well, N is our haploid number, which is the number of chromosomes in one cell. And if we cut it in half, that's obviously 23. How do we get it again? 2n equals 46. And in order to know what your haploid is by the diploid number, you cut it in half. But you just divide it by 2, and that gives you 23. Okay, so meiosis is going to give us half of what our diploid number is. Meiosis is going to give half because it's split from mom and dad. So homologous chromosomes. So remember, homo means same. And when we talk about homologous chromosomes, remember they come in pairs, so which is 2. This is going to determine what an individual looks like because we're getting genes from mom and dad. So as you see on this picture, it says homologous pair of chromosomes. We have a gene for eye color, we have a gene for an enzyme, and a gene for cytochrome. This is a duplicated from mom, and this is duplicated from dad. Eventually, these are going to over cross each other. So again, the paired chromosome, it has to be paired to the right one. So again, homologous is same. So this has to be exactly to the same. We can't be just talking about chromosomes that do not have a correlation. Homologous chromosomes, these are genes arranged in the same order, but they are different possible alleles for the same gene. So this may mean mama has brown eyes and daddy has blue eyes. They're not going to be identical because those are different alleles, okay? The 2 chromosomes in the homologous pairs are not always identical. Why? Because your mom and dad is not identical. So your eye color, your hair color, your structure, your body size, all those things are taken into consideration. So to better understand, alleles are different versions of a trait. Okay? So we have a gene, but we will have different alleles, so different versions of it. So if mama has big A, and daddy has little a, well, whenever genes cross, you may have daddy genes, you may have mama genes, or you may have a mixture of both of their genes, okay? And those alleles are like you have the eye color that you have, the height that you have. So now, why meiosis? And so just as remember, mitosis is my body, right? Well, again, me came from sex, so sex me. So mitosis, my body. Meiosis, sex me. Okay? Mitosis, my body. Meiosis, sex me. Because how did me get here? I came here from sex. So when mitosis occurs, this is when it splits and gives you an exact copy, right? And you look exactly like that, and you end up with 2 identical cells. And I'm just going to write ID, okay? But what will happen is if it was to join another cell, it'll become crowded because it's 2 different genetic variations, right? So in order for us to accommodate that, cells have to find a way to reduce the number of chromosomes by half. So half comes into meiosis. So mitosis, my body gives you 2 identical and it stays the same. So nothing's cut. Meiosis is sex me, and we're going to give half. So meiosis is nuclear division that reduces the number of chromosomes by what? By half. This is only sexual reproduction. So again, meiosis is sex. So meiosis. Meiosis. Sex me. Meiosis. So in most multicellular animals, we have obviously sex organs, and our sex organs are called gonads. Okay, sex organs make you go. All right. So for males, you have a penis and an testes. For a woman, we have a cervix and a uterus and a ovary. Okay. If you look at this picture, you like, hold on, these things almost look just alike. Yes, in our birthing area, one drops and becomes noticeable on the outside, one stays on the inside, and you have to find it. So the end result is to create gametes. Gametes are 6 cells. Okay, so gonads is sex organs. Gametes, sex cells. Okay, so in animals, we're going to get one egg. Guys will get 4 sperm. And each sperm obviously is different. And it's called 4 haploid. So we write that as 1N. Plants, their gametes are called spores, as well as going to be known as pollen grains. Now, here is a picture. You have, obviously, a male. This is their wedding day. Okay. On their wedding day, they express their love by trying to consummate the marriage. So he releases the sperm, and she was ovulating. Well, when the egg and sperm come together, it's called fertilization, and that's called a zygote. Okay? That big cell is now diploid. Okay? And then, bada boom, bada beam, we have another baby. Okay? But what is the haploid cells? The haploid cells is the egg and sperm. Because this is 23, and this is 23. When egg and sperm come together, we make 46. And 46 is your diploid cell. So a zygote would have your 46 chromosomes, okay? But one egg is going to have 23. So the gametes are egg and sperm. When 2 come together, it's called a zygote. You have to know those names. And the zygote is diploid because obviously 2 cells came together. So the meiosis stages. Interphase, we have prophase again, but we have it known as prophase 1, metaphase 1, anaphase 1, telophase 1, prophase 2, metaphase 2, anaphase 2, telophase 2, and then cytokinesis. So, interphase, same thing, first stage of meiosis. This will always be of any cell division, interphase comes first. So here the chromosomes are replicated. And of course, remember this is 2 identical sister chromatids are held together by the centromere. Look at the word where it says sister chromatids. We don't have chromosomes yet. They are chromatids. Prophase 1. Prophase 1. important? We have to know. Why is this important? Well, during prophase 1, each pair now of homologous chromosomes, this is a pair, the same pair of chromosomes comes together. That is called synopsis. Okay, this is matched gene by gene, right? And the alleles. This form a four-part structure called a tetrad. So homologous chromosomes come together. That's called a synopsis. They make a four-part structure called a tetrad. So here is the tetrad. See how the two chromosomes, let's just say red is mom and blue is dad. Okay, so a tetrad consists of two homologous chromosomes made up of two sister chromatids. Okay, they pair so tightly that the non-sister chromatids from homologous chromosomes sometimes actually exchange genetic material called crossing over, which is also known as chiasma. Okay, so if you notice right here, you see how this is chiasma because it's the site of crossing over, but you now notice that the blue has a red tip and the red has a blue tip because they crossed over. So basically, remember, meiosis is sex, right? So interphase, we're replicating DNA, we're doing the growth of the cells, but prophase 1, that is our first step of meiosis. Prophase 1, I put it like this: your mom and dad, they consider they would, let's just say one night they're getting busy, they're professionals. That night they crossed over each other, they exchanged genes. Well, prophase 1, this is crossing over each other and they're exchanging genes. Okay, so prophase 1, we're crossing over and we exchanging some DNA, we exchanging some genes. The importance of this is that humans are in prophase 1, we cross over 2 to 3 times of exchanging DNA. What this does is it increases our genetic diversity. This allows none of us to look alike. I don't care if you're an identical twin. This right here causes the biggest genetic diversity. You need to know this, period. So the most important thing of meiosis is the crossing over. If it fails to cross over, you will have kids who have, if it crosses over too much, then we would have mutations. If you are accidentally inbreeding and maybe you didn't know that was your cousin, once you cross over, you exchange the same material, so that will cause some defects. So what's important? Crossing over. Remember mom and dad cell? You see how they were professional, prophase 1? You see how that leg crossing over the other leg? Yeah, and they exchange some DNA material right here. So then after prophase, we have metaphase. So metaphase. So now again, look where it crossed over. We have a mom chromosome and we have a dad chromosome. Now you lined up, you see that they are in pairs. That is different than mitosis. Mitosis, we just line up that one regular chromosome. No, these are sisters. They are sitting beside each other. You get one from dad, one from mom. What happens now, just like in metaphase, they line up in the middle. Anaphase, notice that they're still chromosomes though. They are still X's. We are just no longer going to be no more pair, because anaphase 1, the homologous chromosomes now become chromatids, with its two chromatids move to the opposite side, so it's no more pairs. Okay. Telophase. See, first meiotic division is complete and it's still a diploid cell. So telophase is still diploid. We have not yet finished this out. We have two phases. So what happens here, each cell has now moved as one chromosome to each side. So there's no more pairs. So now we're getting ready to go over all the steps again, starting back at prophase. But at the end of telophase 2, we're going to have 4 cells, which are going to be called haploid. But right now, these are still diploid. Okay, so we started off as a cell. We have now a 2N, which is 2 cells, and now we're getting ready to break to 4. So if you look at this, this is just showing you it with pictures and a little bit of more information for you. So this is meiosis 1. Here is meiosis 2. We're going to end with how many cells? 4. And what kind are they? Haploid. And that means each cell contains, and it's written as this because each cell contains only 23 chromosomes. So prophase 2, nothing happens. No crossing over. Nothing happens. We're just getting ready to break the mode. Metaphase 2, this is the time they line up down the middle. Now if you notice, no pairs. We have one cell has mama's gene, mama's chromosome with some of daddy's gene, and then we have daddy's chromosome with some of mama's gene on it. Spindle fibers attached to the centromere. Anaphase 2, sister chromatids separate and move to the opposite sides. So no more chromosomes. Because why? The chromosomes are now pulling apart. Okay, if you look here, remember, look at daddy. He doesn't have no genes though from the mama. So if this is you, you're gonna look like your dad. Here you got your dad and you're gonna have some pictures of your mama. So that's how the genes take place. So telophase, well, when we finally get to the end, we have 4 gametes. Thing is, each one is haploid, right? So each one is going to contain 23 chromosomes, which is half. Guys, you get 4 sperm every time that takes place. Women only get 1 egg and 3 polar bodies. The 3 polar bodies basically form this 1 egg. So our gamete formation. So spermatogenesis, this is where the guys are able to get the 4 sperm. So as you see here, and it breaks down for every male that goes through this, and y'all actually go through this every day. Women, we stop making this. We go through this actually while we're developing in our mother's womb. So we can't no longer make any more eggs. Oh, we have all of our eggs, but guys reproduce over one ejaculation can release up to 7 million sperm in one. Their body replaces that and makes millions and billions of sperm a day through this process. So they get, every process, they get 4. So males, again, the meiosis gametes, your haploid things are called sperm. In plants, it's called pollen. Pollen is sperm cells. So now a female, we get 1 egg and we have 3 polar bodies. But again, we are born with what we have. And what we call that, again, we call it an egg. So genetic recombination. In humans, remember, our number of chromosomes per cell is 23 for sex cells. So that the number of different kind of eggs and sperms, the thing is, this could produce up to 8 million. So we have like 8 million. And guys have, every sperm is different. No sperm is the same. The thing is, when your mom and dad made you, you know there was 70 trillion possible ways you could have looked. That's a lot. we can't even imagine what we would look like if we had a bigger nose or bigger lips or red hair, blonde hair, blue eyes. We could have looked 70 trillion different ways, but you came out special and looked the way that you look. And this right here is called genetic recombination. This is the reassortment of chromosomes. Basically, hey, you might have got um, blue eyes from you got green eyes from your dad and maybe black hair. There are two ways this happens, and it happens because of crossing over and independent segregation. So again, meiosis is sex, and we end up with 4 haploid cells for sperm, and we end up with 1 haploid egg. Okay, and everything, remember, is half. Okay, genetically different. So let's just do a quick review. The phase that shows the homologous chromosomes line up at the equator. Metaphase 1. It says chromosomes, not a chromosome. Okay. First stage of meiosis that shows 4 cells formed. The final stage of meiosis that shows 4. It's going to be telophase 2 or cytokinesis. In human males, the max number that is produced from each sex cell is how many? 4. In animals, polar bodies are formed as a result of meiotic division in what? Females. In human, zygote is produced from 2 gametes that are identical in chromosome number, right? Why? Because it is diploid. We get 1 haploid plus 1 haploid, giving us the diploid. So that's a 23 chromosomes plus 23. It's going to give us a 46 for a zygote. All right. And here's just the picture.